Hello and welcome to Full Throttle. With me today, be a Skype or Gilmer, whatever you want to call it. It's Steve, and we're here to discuss all the things that NASCAR has put out over the past couple of weeks that both of us have heard about. So, how you doing, Steve?
I'm doing pretty darn good. How you doing, Justin?
Oh, doing pretty good. So let's jump right into this. So, what do you think about the new TV deal? I I, I sort of think it's going to be screwy until they get it figured out.
Well, I'm a little nervous about Amazon Prime coming into the race into this the TV broadcast because um, eventually I think it's inevitable that with time NASCAR won't be able to be viewed except for big races on TV. As right now, me and you, we can turn on the TV, watch some NASCAR anytime we want, no time, when the race is on. But I think later on down the road, what you'll see is these subscription services like Amazon. I mean, they're not the only competition. There's YouTube TV and all these other ones. I think with time, most of the races will be broadcasted for a fee under that. So that's my fear. I don't like that. I know it limits people from how they can watch it if they don't have Amazon Prime. So that kind of worries me. But the big races will always be on TV. I think like Daytona 600,
Yeah.
championship race. Yeah.
So, what do you think about the other big announcement about um? What do you think about the up and coming drivers this year that are coming to the Cup Series? You got Glass Bailey in that number 4 car taking over for the retired Kevin Harvick. What do you look to see out of Josh Berry?
What do I see at Josh Berry? Well, he had a really good Xfinity series a couple years ago when he first took over for the 8 car, I believe it was, for Junior Motorsports. And he came right on the scene. I remember watching that Martinsville race in the Xfinity series live. He did really good. But you know what? No matter how hot you are in the Xfinity and truck, it seems like everyone hits a wall as soon as they get the Cup. It's a different ball game altogether. Um, and I think that he's going to have a rough season. That's a bit pessimistic. However, I here's a hot take. I bet he will not have as many lead laps this year as Kevin Harvick.
Well, that's pretty harsh words coming from
Oh,
someone.
it's not harsh. He'll get better. He'll get better. But I think it's just the reality is that
Mm-hmm.
everyone
I agree.
hits the
I don't.
wall when they get to the Cup Series, no matter how good they are in Xfinity. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um. So, furthermore, what do you think about the pairing for Josh Berry with Lonnie Curtis still being the crew chief for that race car?
Well, I'm really surprised. And from quotes years ago, not too long ago actually, um, you know, Kevin Harvick has said, and Rodney Childress himself has said, when one says they're done, the other is also going to call quits as well. So I'm really surprised that Rodney Childress would hang on for at least the first season. I don't know if he said he's going to stick around for any longer, but I know that he's going to stick around for the first year, and I'm surprised of that. But maybe it's just to get him his wee feet wet in the Cup Series, and then maybe by then maybe Rodney will say, "Thank you very much, but I'm going to retire now." But Anyway, but from what I've heard in conversations, I've heard that Rodney was going to leave when Harvick was done, and he didn't. I'm surprised, but sometimes we have the bug and you can't get rid of it.
Yeah. So how long have you been a racing fan for?
I mean, I could tell. I mean, I think it's just as long as I can remember. How about that? As long as my living memory, I can remember back. Yeah, just
Yeah, me
from
too. So now let's talk about the broadcast itself. What do you expect out of Kevin Harvick? I think Kevin Harvick's going to be a great addition this coming out of the race car this this past season. There's not too many changes to the Cup car coming up, so Kevin Harvick's going to be a fresh eye in the sky, so to speak, for that Fox podcast, and I think he'll do a real good job.
Well, I personally think that he's going to be, I think, a hot commodity, and other drivers that are retiring soon are going to be hot commodities for broadcast positions, more so than maybe some of the older drivers, because of the next gen car gives them a special look inside of how to, they can kind of explain a little better, and with real life, how should you say, experience. I should, with the car. He's had a few years now. He's been with the next gen car since it started, and many years before that. But with that being said, he's going to be really good. I think a lot better at explaining things. I like the cutaway car. I like the old cutaway car better. That's another thing on its own. I could rant about that for a little bit, but the old cutaway car where they'd have, Matt Yoakum would come down and he'd say, "Well, this right here, there's where this, splitter is kind of, he showed this part of the splitter here is bolts to the bottom of the bumper, and if they'd explain if something was damaged on someone's car, do a little report. And now they do this computer generated 3D modeling stuff, and just not the same. However, I think that Kevin Harvick's going to shine with that because he's going to be able to not go off a script. He'll know it in his head. It's all up here, and when other broadcasters are trying to stumble and kind of try to guess, and maybe some of the older drivers listen to the uh, um, team communications, and they have to kind of guess a little bit, not all the time, but with the next gen car it's a little different. But Kevin Harvick will know what they're saying and understand a lot better because he has that experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kevin Harvick's going to be a great addition for that reason. What was your reaction when you found out Kevin Harvick was going to Fox? Are you looking forward to him being in that Fox booth, or are you kind of wishy-washy? Like there's some things you're looking forward to, and some things you aren't looking forward to.
Well, actually, I thought, he's kind of boring a little bit. I thought, I mean, everyone's got a little personality to him, and I thought he's a little flat. And then I watched some old clips of Xfinity series. Now, if you want to know what Kevin Harvick is like in the booth, now obviously guest appearances will be different. But he used to do quite a bit of Xfinity series broadcasts,
Mm-hmm.
and if you remember, and he was pretty good. I remember watching a few compilations on YouTube, and then I heard Kevin Harvick. I heard this guy. I was like, "Who's that?" Well, it's Kevin Harvick. I thought, oh, he's not too bad in the booth. And I thought, oh yeah, I never really seen him on before. Yeah, so I mean, he's only gonna get better, So I think he's gonna be really good, and I'm looking forward to him. Looking forward to hearing things that about the next gen car that he'll probably explain a lot better too.
Yeah. So furthermore, so what do you think about the way NBC does their broadcast. Let's dive into that. What what is your opinion on the NBC side of things?
Well, I, it's kind of a hard thing to explain because, or not a hard thing. It's kind of a hard thing to judge because Fox Sports has been going down the tubes for many years now. It's been slowly eroding, and the last few years, it's kind of drip, dropped off the cliff quite hard. And with that being said, I think that we've been comparing NBC to Fox, and Fox has been dwindling. NBC's been they've had their moments of ups and downs, but quite honestly, I hate to be a hater, but I don't really enjoy the NBC broadcast with the current, how should you say, current personalities. I just think it's a bit of a jumbled up mix. Now the pace, the rhythm, how to explain things, they're a lot more exciting, more youthfulness. I do like that, but the one thing I don't like is that they have. I find that sometimes the announcers get high pitched, really high pitched, and really almost shriek in a way. They're very shrill, I guess that you could say, in their voice when things heat up the track. And I'm like, that's
Yeah,
what fans do. That's not what a broadcaster should do, especially when you go back and watch the race. You see some action, on the track, and you listen to the announcers, and they're excited, but they're not. I mean, we all know the elephant in the room that Dale Earnhardt and Junior and Jeff Burton, they kind of like to shriek a little bit. They get a little bit high, It's just not. It kind of ruins a good moment for me. But I think that if they just kind of rearrange, I don't know. I think it's salvageable. I don't think it's a mess, but I don't really think they're not my favorite. So I'm looking forward though. The Amazon Prime. I'm not aware of who's going to be doing their broadcast. Do you know? Do
I
you know the lineup?
I don't know. I mean, I just heard about it, and that's what made me pump this whole idea of doing it like this and getting other people's opinion. I was hoping uh, that people would know more than what I know.
Well, I know. I think maybe it hasn't been released yet because that's big news, especially if they got any big news. Like if they got Alan Bestwick or Andy, not so much Andy Beatree, but even still, or they try to reassemble some old version of the, you know, last ESPN. Remember the ESPN when they used to do NASCAR races? 2014 was their last race. If they tried to assemble, and that was one of my favorite broadcast crews. If they did that, it would be big news, and we would know about that already. But that hasn't been released at all. No
Yeah,
broadcast lineup has been released, so I think they're still. Well, they probably already know what they're doing, but they're not releasing it. So
they're
we'll have to
not
wait.
releasing it to the public.
Not yet, not
And
yet. We'll have to be patient.
I I have to know. So let's dive into your favorite decade of broadcasting. I think you just kind of touched on it. You like the uh ESPN decade. So did I. Cause you have from the driver's seat a lot more than what NBC does, a lot more than what Fox does. I hope Amazon is listening to the fans and brings back something like that. Agree or
Yeah.
disagree?
Oh, I agree 100%. There's a lot of things that are missing that the current TV broadcasters don't have, that like the old ESPN crew, and I agree with that 100%. New guys need to pick it up.
Yeah, um so what would you say um shifting gears to the NASCAR Xfinity Series and Haley Deegan. She gets talked about a lot. So, what do you think she'll be like in Xfinity if you had to guess? She'll be full time this year as of 2024 for Occupy Motorsports, I believe. I think that's the right company. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think so.
So get somebody out there that would correct both of us. But what do you see in Haley Deegan? And do
Uh,
you think this was a good move?
well, here's the thing. Haley Deegan, she's got a lot to prove still. I think that she's also there's a lot there that I think is left to be seen. I think she's got a lot more to show us. And I think that, and also I think that she, some people say she hasn't gotten the best equipment, and some people say, oh, she's had all the equipment. She's had all the tries, and she hasn't done a lot with it. I think it's still too early to tell. I think she's gotten lots of opportunities, and believe it or not, she got the most popular driver for the Truck Series. So she won that for this year, the Truck Series Most Popular Driver Award. And I think she's got a lot of people hoping that she does as well. I think she's going to be this year. I hope that this year's the breakout year. Hopefully this year's we see a little bit of consistency in the top 5 and 10, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will definitely see. So, what do you think about Alan Bestwick's career in broadcasting? I really like how that boy delivers the sport. I wish he would do more. I I hope Amazon brings him back as a broadcaster. What what is your dream broadcast um team you would like to see Amazon bring to the batting cages to report the stories of NASCAR?
Well, if you're so you're asking me like what's my favorite broadcast crew from all the years in NASCAR? Is that kind of what you're asking me, or
Yep, yep.
yeah?
And who would you bring back?
Oh, who would I bring back? Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, that's a hard one because I liked the 20. Like, if you just, I'm sure, I think they went for a few years there, but if you just look up the 2014 ESPN with Andy Petrie, Dale Jarrett, and Alan Bestwick, they were very professional, really good at what they do, and it was a good pairing too. And a good pit crew reporters as well. With Dr. Jerry Punch, Matt Yoakum, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, um, Larry Mack, America's crew chief. I think he was there as well. I'm not sure. I know he was for the TNT days. But to answer your question, I think it was definitely, well, it's a compare and contrast because I really want to say like the prime Fox Sports crew, like Mike Joy, Larry Mack, and Dale and Darrell Waltrip. But it's hard. It's really those two are the people will say a lot about those two, about Darrell Waltrip, but I'm gonna have to go 2014 NBC or ESPN. But
Yeah,
Darrell
I'm
was,
with you on that.
yeah.
Like,
If you could say, yeah, if you could say like how some NBA players carry their team, like you know what I mean in sports, like oh they carried their team, like if it wasn't for them they wouldn't make the playoffs. So like I look at Mike Joy and Larry Mack are good at what they do, but Darrell Waltrip carried the Fox Sports group back then. Like he was like LeBron James in 2018 Cavaliers, if you know it. Anyway, if you know NBA, you know what I mean. But
Yeah. Now, I think Kevin Harvick will carry what Fox was missing in the prior years after Dale Walker left. So what's your opinion on that? Do you think Kevin Harvick has what it takes to fill those shoes of Dale Walker and kind of be that forgotten piece that was replaced uh with Clint Boyer?
I I think filling their shoes is different because it's almost like it's we can say filling their shoes, but I think it's really the personalities in the booth are so different that it's not going to fit exactly right. But the void, I think what you mean is the void that's got to be missing from from those departures from the booth. I think he's going to do well. I think like all of them, they're going to be a little green the first few races, but he's going to settle in, and he seemed pretty natural when he was doing those Xfinity Series races. So I think he'll do good.
I tend to agree. So, what do you think? What do you think about some of the schedule changes from this year? In particular, Irish Speedway being added. I'm pretty excited for that. Being a
Yeah,
Midwestern guy, and it's my home racetrack, and NASCAR is coming to it with the big boys. How excited are you for the changes you're seeing with the NASCAR schedule? This year, I think it was only Iowa that was added, but for the most part, every year it's been a little bit different from last from a couple years ago to now.
yeah. Well, I think that the changes. I mean, obviously, you're pretty excited because you've got the track now in your backyard to go to. So I can tell you're pretty happy about that, which should be. But um, well, one thing that I know some people that were I noticed when the schedule came out, some people in the New Hampshire area were pretty happy about the change, because there's usually a big heat wave. That's the hottest time of the year, mid-July, and that's traditionally where the New Hampshire race usually used to land. Now it's pushed back the end of June, and I think that some people are mid-June, I should say, and I think some people are pretty happy about that because just with the heat. I mean, it's still going to be hot in June. No worry about that. You're not going to be wearing your long sleeves or your Parkers in June in New Hampshire, but at least it's not in the middle. I went to the 2012 New Hampshire race, and it was a record heat wave that was rolling up the eastern seaboard, and yeah, I just about melted on them aluminum bleachers. But yeah, and if someone in the comments can guess who won that day, then they can feel good that they won. They got it right. We have no cars to give away here, so anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, free tickets to the Iowa race. Um, you know, that's we can give them that, right? You can find that in the budget, right?
No, but we could find a second. But
Yeah, maybe we could tell Stoll on our Heat League. He can
yeah,
raise the money. Yeah, we'll get enough viewers that generate some prizes.
yeah, there we go. So,
Yeah.
so I think that's all the time we have for this episode of Full Throttle. I appreciate Steve stepping into the guest co-host role. And I will see you next time with a edition of Full Follow with guest and Putsu as your main host. Goodbye, everyone.
So yeah.